Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna shade using gradation. And so a gradation scale is what we typically do when we're shading, when we're trying to make something look more 3D. You'll notice that there is no step, so it's not like it's a rainbow of value where it's like concrete circles on the sphere. Instead, we have gradual transitions. So we'll be practicing how to go from light to dark using those three to four pencils as well. So I find for gradation, it's much easier to go dark to light than light to dark because our first mark is typically a little bit heavier than we really want it to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna start again with our H pencil, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a mark, right? And I'm gonna move the pencil slowly over so that it gradually gets lighter. So right now my pencil pressure is, I'm still holding it pretty far back on the pencil, but my pencil pressure is a little bit heavier. It's not hard. If it's hard, you're gonna start seeing grooves underneath your paper. So you don't want to see grooves, but you just want to press a little bit harder so that it makes a darker value. And as you move across here, you want to do less layers and then eventually kind of press a little bit lighter so that it will become basically white, right? But I have to keep pulling this over. This is going to take a little while. But this is a really important skill to learn because one, we've got to learn, how far to go. So notice we got short marks here. And we're going to learn some muscle memory and some patience. And just kind of keep going back and forth. And I just feel like this is just scratchy because once again, this is an H pencil, which is good for sketching, not for shading. So for this one, we actually are going to let it fade to white. So you will leave a little bit of white on the end, but you just want a gradual transition. Now I find for this, going one direction is pretty successful, but you can still go multiple directions here, especially if you're having a hard time going to edges. See how that kind of cleaned up that edge there? Kind of smooth out some imperfections. It's almost like a weave of fabric. It makes it seem more continuous. So I think you can see it. There pretty much is only white this last quarter, so like almost like a block width, but notice that it's a gradual transition. Now I'm going to swap and I'm going to try my HB pencil, and I'm going to do the same thing. This one is going to go pretty dark. It's going to go darker faster, and so I can keep going up and down with this. Hold the pencil kind of close, it will make it a darker value without hurting the paper. And then I can do less layers as I move across. And then I can start to reposition the pencil. You just want to be real careful. It doesn't look like, once again, like a rubbing where you're just using the side. You still want to be using the tip of the pencil. But I don't want you to be concerned with trying to match the values from the top row. Often that's what we want to do, but these pencils will do what they're good for. So it's not like it has to match. So I am going to pull this over to be white again. And then just like the other one, I'm going to clean it up because it's kind of uneven here. So I'm going to go the other direction. Kind of smooth out my values here. Okay, so I can keep going over this. Basically, once it stops getting darker, that's about as dark as the pencil will get. So feel free to kind of clean it up, make it nice and even. Okay. The next one is the 4B, and I'm going to show you something that often happens. So sometimes we're shading, and then we go do another value. And what will happen is it's going to kind of look like it's the step. So, you know, there's like a line here where you can see one is definitely darker than the next. Can you see here where like there's a block and another block, and it's like, oh, I really wanted that to look gradual. What I do is I hold the pencil back kind of far, and then I just basically, I normally start in the dark area actually. I start in the dark area, and then I just lightly layer and just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. And normally I can get it to have a gradual transition where that line will sort of disappear. It will dissipate. I kind of did that too fast over here, so now I've kind of got some hot, like hard marks. And that's okay, because I can probably still get this darker. You should probably be able to get a really rich blackish color with this 4B pencil, especially if you use the tip of the pencil here. Yeah, I can even get this darker over here. Now the only problem with these B pencils too is that they are so soft that you accidentally smudge them. So be real careful, especially if you're a lefty, that you're not smudging across. All right, so I really need to work on this. The nice thing is that I can still do it. It's not like I ruined it. I just need to work on my pencil control. You might encounter this too. This has some lines and grooves on it from doing other scales, but also doing contour line drawing and pressing too hard. So sometimes you gotta work with what you got. Just try to make the best of it. Okay, you can always use your normal eraser to clean up edges if you need to. You just want to be real careful not to smudge. Okay, so then you probably are done, but I'm going to use this extra black one too for future reference for this class, because I'll have other students who probably will eventually get these pencils once they come back in stock. Need to sharpen this pencil. Okay, there we go. I've got our two different scales. So we're going to practice this skill with a mini artwork, and then we'll eventually learn how to use these skills to create three-dimensional forms.